Hi, sorry I haven't uploaded a video in a while. I got a haircut. Let me back this off. Sorry, I have it plugged in, so I don't know if you can see the cord there. So it's kind of hard to make this reach because it's a short cord, because I don't have the original. Anyway, there's these debates that happen, or not debates, town hall, CNN town hall with the Democratic candidates. It's funny how CNN never has a town hall for Republicans. Just saying. Anyway, not that I'm like a huge fan of the Republicans either. I just vote for the lesser of two evils, really. But recently the big debate has been about reparations, and I just want to say, why? Why? You know, if there's one way that the left wants to hand Donald Trump the election quicker, as early as possible, they'll hand, if they want to hand him the election as early as possible. They're doing a great job of it. Reparations is a very sore subject with a lot of people, because when you bring it up, people just go, really, dude? And they actually are considering implementing that in this country. That is insane. I have one question for these people. If you're gonna commit electoral suicide, maybe wait to do it. Wait until you get some support, so you don't look like a complete idiot and get completely blown out in an election. So at least some of the early voters fall for you. Spit some of this crap out like the day before election night. It blows my mind how insane this is. Look, here's the bottom line. The Democrats need minorities to win. They need blacks. Blacks aren't a big percentage of the vote. Now, I've heard that that they come out in big numbers. I heard that today. I've also heard they don't come out in big numbers. I've heard they don't come out in big numbers a lot more than I've heard that they do. So regardless, it doesn't really matter. The point is they still need black voters. If they lose just... look at this last election. They lost 10% of black voters. That's it. 10%. And Donald Trump won. So, yeah, they need blacks. And that's the minority they're going after the most. But they also need other minorities. But the whole reparations thing is not really aimed towards Asian Americans. Why? Because, Asian privilege. Now that's actually a thing, because white privilege only went so far. And then people were like, well, Asians make more money than whites. And they're like, well, they have privilege too. So it's kind of gotten to the... Dang it, I can't put it up there. It's kind of gotten to the point of ridiculousness. So with this whole process, we'll see what happens with this whole process. But they're going to try to do it. With they've already gone with Hispanics. They've tried the whole, they hate immigrants, because most Hispanics who live in the country right now either are immigrants or are the offspring of either their parents are immigrants or their grandparents are immigrants. This whole idea of like the border crossed them. That is true in some cases, okay? Maybe places like California, Texas, Arizona. But outside of, California, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, outside of those states, most Hispanics outside of those states have not had generations and generations going back. And even in those states, in fact, those states have a high immigration rate. So even there, even in places that used to be Mexico, like Arizona, like New Mexico, like Texas, like California, um, even in those places, there's not a lot of and here there's not a lot of uh, non-immigrants. At least not in the sense of there's a lot, but not in the way that they're expressing it. Like everybody's not. Who the border crossed them? Probably half. Like not as big of a percentage as you want to put. And by the way, as the generations and generations of Hispanics go on, they get to be more and more conservative. A Hispanic grandmother is going to be more right wing than a Hispanic, or is going to be less right wing rather than her Hispanic daughter or granddaughter on average. Things like that. And you see it with blacks too now. The reason with black people it hasn't caught on as much yet, although it's starting to, Donald Trump is a good example, is because it's been a couple generations since blacks started voting Democrat. 1930s was really when the blacks started voting Democrat because of FDR. FDR guaranteed them some welfare, and they got it. And so they kind of went with the Democrat Party, even though they kind of wanted to stay with Republicans if you look back at the history and all that. So now they're trying to import a lot of Africans, right, to replace the black vote. Or who's a closer neighbor? Mexico. Who are closer countries to us? The Latin American countries. They're trying to get more Latinos in here now. And they're not going, and I know, oh, you said Latino, you're yeah, whatever. They're not going after legal Latinos because legal immigrants are overwhelmingly red voters. They're going after illegals. So we'll see what happens in this election, but I think they overplayed their card with Hispanics, and now they're overplaying their card with blacks. Because if you talk to most black people nowadays, they don't want reparations. They might pretend they do to like mess with white people. I mean, I've had that, and I don't fall for it. I go, I don't care about that, and they go, I'm just kidding. It's like, yeah, this whole idea that like, oh, we live in this horrible racist society, and then you go outside and you see the birds chirping, and then you go and you meet up with your black friend, and you guys go out and get a bite to eat. You play basketball, you go to the park, whatever. Like it's so stupid. Like I used to play basketball with black kids, right? Like there's this whole idea that for some reason that we all live in this horribly racist country. By the way, rural areas are more diverse than they've ever been. The suburbs are more diverse than they've ever been. The inner cities are actually in some places letting in, like more white people are moving in. Like Washington D.C. is a great example. And then in the suburbs, you're seeing more minorities. People are, achieving higher class status. It's great. It's great. Just look outside your window, guys. But I've made this video a lot longer than I wanted to, but I just want to end on this. Reparations is the death of a Democratic president being elected in 2020. There's no way. If you're gonna hinge on this argument, you're gonna lose the Midwest. You're gonna lose more than the Midwest. You're gonna lose states. So you might actually lose some Democrat states. Like Vermont is the whitest state in the country. Well, it goes back and forth between Vermont and Maine, but Vermont is the whitest state in the country. 94% white. Look, even a state like Vermont, where there's a bunch of like white guilt people. By the way, live in a state that like I think got rid of slavery in the 1760s. I don't even know if it ever had. So anyway, doesn't matter. Even in a state like that, where it's all like a bunch of granola crunching environmentalists. Well, I love Ben and Jerry's. By the way, Ben and Jerry's is totally overrated ice cream. You need to get Brahms. Well, if you don't live in Southwest Missouri, Western Arkansas, Eastern and Central Oklahoma, or North Texas, you're missing out because that's where Brahms is. And Brahms is the bomb. Also, California ice cream is pretty good. Any ice cream shop in California is great. Everyone I've been to anyway. When I went out there years back, Southern California's got great ice cream, and kind of the western southern states, and southern Midwest has great ice cream. But anyway, getting off topic. The point is that look, even those states, you're going to lose a lot of votes. You may not lose those states. You may not lose a solid blue state like Vermont, or a pretty, not solid blue, but like moderately blue state like Maine. You may not lose those states, but you're going to lose votes. And I think Maine splits their votes, so you might want to watch out. I think they aren't a winner take all state, I'm pretty sure. So you might want to watch out. Because you don't need to necessarily lose some of the states that you're going to win in, or you might not necessarily need to lose those states, but you might lose some electoral votes, and that's important. And it's guaranteed you're going to lose most of the western states, most of the Rocky Mountain states, all that stuff. But there are swing states. Washington has actually shifted a little bit more red. A lot of people moved out to Washington, to Homestead, things like that. I'm not even kidding. Like, Washington's becoming more of an outdoorsy state again. It's been a while since that's happened, because people are leaving Seattle, and yeah. So Washington's now a swing state. Oregon is lightly blue, but shifting towards a swing state. You might want to watch Oregon. Okay? They say Iowa's a swing state, but it's really light. It's really like a pink right now. Part of it is people are moving out of Minnesota and Illinois. Illinois, people are just moving out of there like crazy. So that's kind of, you're starting to get a lot of Dems. But I was going to go red. I was going to go for Trump. They did last time. They're going to go again. So some of the states you think that maybe you can flip, you're not going to flip. So this whole idea that Democrats are like, they're hinging on this reparations argument. They think they're going to win this. You're crazy. You need to tone it down. I'm actually helping out. I'm giving them all the answers. I'm giving the enemy the answers. But they're going to do it to spite me. They're going to do they're going to do it anyway. They're going to do it to spite me and you because they hate us, guys. I don't hate them. I think they're laughable and pathetic. I don't hate them. And I encourage you not to hate them either. Because I've seen people in my personal life who are like, I'm sticking liberals, I want to choke them. It's like, no, you need to chill. You need to stop. You're just as bad as them if you act like that. That's what they want. But they get away. I don't care. But they need to they don't understand. They don't understand that we need to cut funding to every single part of the government. By the way, that includes the military for some of the people on the right who want to be like, oh, well, defense only makes up 20% of the budget. Like, that's a small margin. Like, that's a small percentage. So there's some hypocrisy on this side, too. And people, there's a lot of people on the right focusing on that. A lot of people on the not alt-right. Not the alt-right, because they're not even right, but like alternative right in the sense of like the Owen Benjamins of the world or the Dave Smiths of the world. The more kind of libertarian. There's the libertarian right, the conspiracy theory right, the sort of alternative people with alternative motives, people who reach a different audience. You have the mainstream conservatives, and then you have the outside the curve conservatives, whatever. And those people reach a certain audience, and I'm glad for them. And I wish the mainstream would be a little bit better about bridging the gap there, which is kind of happening, which I'm very glad for. But excuse me, you have to understand that We can't be infighting right now. The Owen Benjamins of the world can't be fighting with everybody. I think he's starting to learn his lesson on that, and he's really, because he's kind of toned it down, and it's good. It's good. He's his walk with Christ, of course, I know has really helped him. He's actually learning what forgiveness means now. Because I remember, not even that long ago, a few months back, he was like, "Oh, so you could forgive someone who murders your family?" And he didn't understand what forgiveness meant and all that stuff. Forgiveness doesn't mean acquitment. And a lot of us need to learn these lessons, and it's great that that's happening because he's a big voice. There's a lot of big voices out there who need to stop going around attacking everybody. Alex Jones is a crazy nut, but guess what? He's better than Pod Save America, the Young Turks. He's better than them. Sure, he's kind of a crappy person. I think he's hilarious. But he gets people out of the globalist mindset. At least we still need him. We still need the Ben Shapiros. I know people hate Ben Shapiro, and I have mixed feelings about the guy, but we need that voice. I personally don't think Ben Shapiro's as evil as some people try to make him out to be, but I do think that he cares so much about his group, which is Orthodox Jews. He's very, very, very Jewish. So like, I kind of have to be like, oh well, I can't exactly be mad at him for like supporting the Syrian war because he's blind. But and part of it is on purpose, I'm sure. But we have to stop infighting because we don't need to. They're infighting. Reparations? I guarantee you there are other Democratic candidates who are like, what? Or potential candidates. Guys, they all have different opinions on it too. They all agree, oh, we should do something. But they can't agree on what? Oh, this video's cutting up. Come on. So just let them dig their own graves. Okay? Let's do that. And we'll win. And I know Donald Trump's not the perfect candidate. I wish he would end the war in Syria and Afghanistan. I wish he'd be a little bit more of a fiscal conservative. I think the bump stock ban was ridiculous. His tax plan was good. It was great. It was a page long. I wish it was a paragraph. Steven Crowder also said that. I mean, his tariffs are stupid. I believe in a free market economy, but I don't believe in free... And people conflate free market with free movement of work, which means immigration. I'll do a separate video on that afterward and tell you a little bit about the history. Not too much, just like a general synopsis of the history of all that. Anyway, I'm tired of making this video, and it's really slow, and I'm sure you're bored to tears by now. So I will see you later.